Okay, so this is our next video in our continuation of our AWS Cloud Certified Practitioner exam questions. So we are covering the next set in which we have the 65 questions. So let's try to attempt all these questions. And at the end of the video, we will only able to see how many how many questions are correct or how many questions are wrong. Okay, let's start. Which entity ensure that our application on Amazon EC2 always has the right amount of capacity? So which will decide has the right amount of capacity? So it is the auto scaling. So auto scaling group will decide if there is a more load, it will add it will increase one more EC2. It will there is a less load, it will terminate one EC2. So it depend. So the auto scaling the application which will decide all this. So AG deployment, load balancer, network load, these are wrong options. Which of the following are recommended security best practice for the AWS account root user? So if you are the root user, what are the best practices which are recommended for the security purpose? So set up an IAM user with administrative permission and do not use AWS account root user for administrative tasks. So this is, I think I already covered in one of my video, and I told you that whenever we created the initial account, first the root account is created, but don't use the root account. So first we create the IAM user, set the administrative property, log out from the root user, and then re-log in with the IAM user which you created. Because root account is very dangerous account. So maybe by mistake you can delete the stuffs or so many things. So always go with the IAM user. Keep your AWS account true user access key in the encrypted file wrong. Share AWS account root path, definitely not share. Enable MFA. So definitely we need to enable. Disable wrong. So these two looks correct. Which of the following entities are part of a VPC? So when you create a VPC, what are the part? So one is the subnet and one is the internet gateway. So internet gateway automatically get created. Internet gateway will connect your VPC resources, the resources inside the VPC to the public internet. It will connect using the internet gateway. All the object is nothing. Storage gateway just to connect. If you are on the on premises and you want to extend your storage and you want to use the storage from the cloud, then you can use the storage gateway. API gateway just the gateway service for the APIs, the common endpoint. So all these are wrong. Subnet and internet gateway look correct. Which of the following can you use to run a bootstrap script? So bootstrap script means whenever you spin up the EC2 instance, as soon as the EC2 instance spin up, you want to install something. Let's suppose you want to install Docker. So where you will write those scripts? So in our video, we have installs, I think, Apache server, and we did all these things in the user data. So whatever we write in the user data, it will automatically run on the boot run of the machine. Which AWS service should you use to create a logical isolated section? So if you want to create a logical isolated section within the AWS cloud, just create a VPC. Which of the following is the most cost effective? Most cost effective EC2 instance purchasing for the short term. So if you want for the short term and the critical workload, so it is a critical workloads. So for the short term, we will not use the reserved instances because the reserved instance is only for the 1 to 3 years. On a dedicated host, just we need the whole server. So that is wrong. Spot instances is for if our application is not critical and that can handle the interruption, but it is mentioned critical workload. So we can go with the demand on demand. Like we want to use our EC2 for 1 hour and we want to run our application without any interruption. We will just spin up the EC2 for 1 hour and we have to pay for the 1 hour. Pay as you go. Which of the following S3 storage classes has no constraint of a minimum storage duration charge for objects? So whenever you store anything in the S3, is there any charge? So if you store is there any minimum duration? So if you store in the standard or intelligent tier, then there is a no charge. But if you then there is a no duration charge. But if you store in the glacier, then there are some charge for maybe some at 30 days, some as 90 days. So there is a minimum time limit. Maybe in the glacier, I think it is like 90 days you have to keep that. How is a major EC2 differ from traditional hosting system? So like if you are running some machines on the traditional way, like on premises, and you are running on Amazon EC2, what's the difference? With Amazon EC2, user risk overbuying resources, totally wrong. With Amazon EC2, developer can launch and terminate the instance anytime they need to. Definitely correct, because we can launch or terminate anytime. Amazon EC2 can scale with changing computing requirement. Definitely correct. Amazon EC2 provides a pre-configured instance. No. Amazon EC2 caters more towards group of users with similar system requirement. Wrong. So these two looks correct. Which AWS service will you use to provision the same AWS infrastructure across multiple AWS accounts? So let's suppose you want to spin up the EC2 with some configuration and you want to use those configuration across multiple accounts. So just go with the cloud formation template. So write all the configuration in the cloud formation template and deploy that. That is the infrastructure as a code. An e-commerce company wants to review the payment card industry reports. Which AWS resource can be? So if you read some kind of reports, documentation, just go to the AWS artifacts. You can just download the reports and read that. AWS Trusted Advisor can provide alerts on which of the following common security misconfigurations. So AWS Trusted Advisor is one of the service that can provide you the alerts on the some security performance kind of thing. So which security configuration, like it generally monitor and will recommend you or provide you some kind of alerts. When you don't tag objects in S3 bucket, objects are wrong, because I don't think this is the security. It's our like up to us whether you want to tag or not. When you don't turn on user activity logging, so that's looks correct. When you allow public access, yes, correct. So when you allow public access, it will give you the security recommendation. Don't allow the all public to access your S3 bucket. Just go with a limited number of user, like whatever your audience. When you don't enable data encryption, so wrong. When you share IAM credential, wrong. Which of the following AWS support can provide programmatical access to the AWS support center? So if you want to access, if you want to create a ticket, close the ticket, but using the code, that is the program, using the programmatic. So under which support plan? We have to select two. So if we have to select two now, just go with the higher plans, because whatever, if it is in the basic, it definitely come in the higher plan. Now we have to select two. So we have the business on the enterprise. Basic is very basic. Then developer, corporate, there is nothing such as such plan. It is a distractor option. So we need to select two. We will go with the top level two, business and enterprise. Which AWS service would you choose for a data processing object that needs a schemaless? Schemaless is our DynamoDB. Which AWS entity enables you to privately connect your VPC to the Amazon SQS queue? So if you want to connect privately your VPC with the Amazon SQS queue, you will go with the interface endpoint. That is the VPC interface endpoint. For the gateway endpoint, you can connect with the DynamoDB and S3. Internet gateway is just to connect with the public cloud. Direct connect is for the on-premise to the cloud. So only the one option left, that is the interface endpoint. Next question, a firm wants to maintain the same data on S3 between its production account and the multiple test account. Which technique should you choose to copy data into multiple test account? So let's suppose they have some data on the production account. They want the same data, everything same on multiple another accounts. So how they can do that? So they can replicate the data. So they can go with the AWS, like Amazon, S3 replication policy, rather than the transfer. No, transfer is just if you want to transfer the data from your from outside to the S3, then the transfer acceleration. S3 bucket policy, no. S3 storage class, no. S3 replication only. Which of the following AWS entities list all user in your account and the status of their base account, such as password? So if you want the list of all the user, their MFA devices, like there are 10 user, which user has is there an MFA enabled? If it is enabled, on which device it is enabled? All those things. How you can get all the list? Is it trusted advisor or no? Inspectors for the security scan. Credential report looks okay. AWS cost is just for the cost. So only one option left, that is the credential reports. Reserved instance pricing is available for which of the following AWS services? So if you want to reserve the instances, so which resources you can reserve? Reserved means like for 1 year or 3 years. So EC2 and the RDS, not the S3, not IAM. IAM is free anyhow, not CloudFront. Which of the following S3 storage class do not charge any data retrieval fee? So if you store in that, there is no charge to retrieve. So one is the standard and one is the intelligent ID. Otherwise, in the glacier, if you store the data in the glacier and if you want to retrieve, it's very high cost because it takes time to retrieve the data because glacier is for the archival purpose. And now you want to retrieve, so it will take high cost. The standard is normal standard, so it will not like take any charge. According to the AWS shared responsibility model, which of the following are the responsibility of the customer for IAM? Compliance validation of underlying software infrastructure. No, it is a AWS. Enable MFA on all accounts. So looks okay. Manage infrastructure wrong. Analyze your access pattern and review IAM permission. Yes, if we are giving some permission, it's our responsibility to review whether we have given the right permission or not. Configuration and vulnerability for the infrastructure. No. So this looks too correct. Which of the following AWS service offer life cycle management for cost optimal storage? So life cycle management come under the Amazon S3. I think we have covered in one of our video. Which of the following describes an availability zone? So what is a region? Region contains multiple zones. Zones contains at least one data center. So one or more data center in the same location looks correct. One or more servers racks. Wrong, wrong, wrong. One or more data center multiple location. No. Zone is at one location only. Region is at multiple location. So one and more data center in same location. Which of the following statements are correct regarding AWS Global Accelerator? So which of the option is correct? AWS Global Accelerator is like one of the service which will help you to make your application available, highly available. So Global Accelerator can be used to host chatty website. Wrong. Global Accelerator use AWS Global Network and its edge location. Yes, they use the edge location, but the edge location used by Global Accelerator are different from the Amazon CloudFront. So wrong. Whatever the CloudFront use the edge location, it's all like the same. There is nothing different. Global Accelerator is a good fit for non-HTTP use case. Looks okay. Global Accelerator provides static IP address that can act as a fixed entry point to your application. Global Accelerator cannot be configured with rows. So these two looks okay even if we go with the elimination. Which of the following AWS storage services can be directly used with on premises? So this looks like some storage option. Which of the storage option which we can use directly with the on premise? So if you want to use the file system, we can directly use by like just like connecting our like using the direct connect, and we can like use the file system. For the S3, we need a direct connection, and then if we want to use from the on premises, we want to use the S3, then we need the storage gateway. So it is not a direct instance store EBS or nothing like that. So EFS looks okay. File system. Okay, so next question. An e-commerce company would like to retrieve alerts when the reserved instance utilization drops. So how you will send that alert? So you can create a budget. So budget is just not for the cost alert, but you can send the so many other alerts like the threshold will reach this. So all these kind of alerts you can send. But if you read the other option, cost explorer, just to review your cost, trusted advisor will give you the recommendation. System manager is also wrong. So only the budgets also left. As per the shared responsibility model, security and compliance is a shared responsibility between AWS and the customer. Which of the following security service falls under the purview of the AWS? So under the shared responsibility model, out of these four, what is the responsibility only for the AWS? AWS Shield Standard looks okay because Shield Standard is by default activate for all the accounts. So the customer has not enabled that. It is the AWS who has enabled that to prevent the DDoS attack. But that is the standard. If we want the advance, then the customer has to pay extra. So that's the customer responsibility. Security group is the customer responsibility. Web application firewalls like again. So this looks okay. Which pillar of AWS well architect framework is responsible for making sure that to select the right resource type and site based on your workload requirement? So let's suppose if there is a more workload, like if you are even in your computer or your PC, you are running so many applications and the configuration is not correct, like maybe you have only 1 GB RAM, then your performance will get reduced. So under the like it is generally recommended under the AWS well architect framework, if you want a good performance, then like depends upon your workload requirement, you should like select the correct site. It doesn't mean like you are using the T2.micro and you are running the machine machine learning program. So the performance will definitely going to reduce. If you are learning the machine learning program, then we need some high level of GPUs, or even rather than the CPU. So that come under the performance efficiency, not the cost, not the operation, not the reliability. AWS organization provide which of the following benefits? So AWS organization have like multiple benefits. So deploy patches on EC2 instance wrong, share the reserved instance, definitely correct. So this is one of the advantage of the AWS organization. Like in the AWS organization, we have multiple accounts. So one account has 10 reserved instances, other has 10, but the first accounts use only 5. Other accounts you already use 10, but now they need more 5. So they can use the 5 shared instances from the first account. So they can share the reserved instances. Check vulnerability wrong. Provision issue to support instance wrong. Volume discount. Yes, definitely you will get the volume discount. Which benefit of cloud computing allow AWS to offer lower pay-as-you-go prices as usage for hundred of thousands of customers is aggregated on the. So what is the benefit? So this is the massive economics of scale. So how the AWS is getting like the benefit? So they are hire one server, and within the one server they are giving few chunks to the multiple of hundred of thousand of customer. So they are getting massive economics of scale. So like, so this is the thing which they want to ask the question. Which of the following are the benefit of the AWS WF, that is the web application firewall? So it will prevent the basically firewall attacks. So WF protection against the infrastructure 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is totally wrong. It prevents from the application layer 7, that is the HTTP. WAF can block all requests except the one that you allow. Looks okay. AWS will lets you monitor the HTTP and that forward the route 53. So this looks wrong. WF can check the presence of SQL code that is likely to be malicious. So looks okay because it will prevent our application from some kind of attacks. WF offer dedicated support of DDoS stream. So wrong. Which AWS service can be used to set up billing alarms to monitor estimated charges? So billing alarms. So we can set the alarm under the CloudWatch. AWS marketplace facilitates which of the following use case? Buy Amazon EC2 standard reserve instance wrong. Sell. Yes, we can buy and we can sell from the Amazon marketplace. So we can sell software as a service. Purchased compliance documents wrong. AWS customer can buy software that has been bundled into customer AMI. Customized AMI, correct. Raise request, no. Which of the following types are the free under the Amazon S3 pricing model? So what are the free? Data transfer out of EC2 when the instance is in the same region as the S3 bucket. So looks okay. Data transfer from one service to the another service is free. Data storage fee per object stored in the S3 Glacier. So doesn't look correct because there is a storage cost. Data transfer in the basic there is a 5 GB free, but after that there is a cost. Similarly in the standard, data stored, data transferred in from the, so incoming request is also free. So this looks fine. Data transfer from an EC2 cloud instance in any AWS region. So this is wrong. If it is in the same AWS region, then it is free. If it is in any AWS region, then we have to pay. Which of the following is available across AWS support plans? We have 4 support plans: basic, developer, business, and enterprise. So what is available in the all the support plans? So third party is only, I think, the business and the enterprise, and enhanced technical support with unlimited dedication. Unlimited. So this is also under the business and like enterprise. Full set of trusted advisor under the enterprise and business. Personal health dashboard. So this is available in all. Even in the basic, you can see the personal health dashboard. Which of the following AWS service can be used to forecast your AWS account users? If you want to forecast, we have the Cost Explorer. Which of the following statements are true regarding the S3? S3 store data in flat non-hierarchical structure. Definitely correct. There, it doesn't store in the hierarchical format like this is the parent, this is their child. No, it is a non-hierarchical. And you can install database wrong. S3 is a fully managed. Okay. Elastic file system. It is not EFS. S3 is a key value object storage service. Yes, it is object storage service. S3 is a block level. No, it is not a block level. Which of the following are the serverless? So what are the servers? Lambda is a serverless. Fargate is EC2 is a server. Beanstalk, Light is a one for portal. So Beanstalk is also not serverless. It is a like automatic, but like at the back end, it will spin up some instances. A DevOps teams at an IT company wants to centrally manage its server. So they want to manage the server on AWS cloud as well as on the on-premise data center so that they can collect software inventory, run commands, configure, patch. So all these, which AWS service would you recommend for this use case? So config wrong cloud formation just to create the resources, but it is like they are managing the cloud and the premise data center. Oops work is like deploy all kind of this. So it looks like a system manager if you go with the elimination method. Which AWS service can help you analyze your infrastructure to identify unattached. So that is the trusted advisor, because trusted advisor has like is one of the service in the AWS which will give you the recommendation. Like you have attached the EBS with the EC2, but you are not using. So underutilized EBS volume or unattached. You created the EBS, but you have not attached. That is the unattached. Imagine EC2 sport instances are a best fit. So sport instances only and only use when the application can handle the interruption. So let's find out the option. To run batch, no. To install cost RDS, no. To run schedule jobs, no. To run and containerize workload, that can be interrupted, yes. Because sport instances, we will use the sport instances when our application can handle the interruption. Which AWS Route 53 routing policy would be used to route traffic to a single resource? So only it's not like the multiple resource, only one like a source to destination, just a one connectivity. So it is a simple routing policy, not a latency, not a failover, not a weighted. So in weighted we have the two, some weight 50% weight to some instance, 50% to some another. Similarly the failover, so some to some another, some to some another. Bob and Susan, there are 2%, each have an AWS account in the AWS organization. Susan has a 5 reserved instances of the same type and Bob has none. So Bob has no reserved instances, Susan has 5. During one particular hour, Susan used 3. So they have used 3. So 2 still left. Bob uses 6 for a total of 9 instances in the organization consolidated view. So Bob used 6. So because it is the organization, so the reserved instances can be shared across the accounts. So if Susan has 5 and Susan can use only 3, so the rest 2 can be used by the Bob. And Bob has used total 9. No, Bob has used total 6. So out of 2 they can use from this and 3 and 4 normal. Which of the following are the correct about consolidated billing? AWS built 3 instances are reserved instances. So totally wrong. There are 5. Bob does not receive a cost benefit. Totally wrong. Bob received the cost benefit from the reserved instances because it is under the AWS organization. AWS bill have 5 instances reserved. Totally correct. And the remaining 4 instances are regular. Yes, correct. Bob received the cost benefit, correct. From Susan, reserved instances, correct. Only if he launches his instance in the same availability zone. Yes. If Susan has purchased in some availability zone and Bob also want to spin up their instance in the same availability zone, then only they can share the instances. So this is like same region, no, in the same availability zone. Which of the following is correct regarding the AWS RDS service? So you can use read replica, okay, for improved read performance and multi-AG for disaster recovery. So wrong. We can use the read replica for to improve the performance. We can use the read replica for the disaster recovery as well. So you can use the read replica for disaster recovery. Wrong. So you can use the read replica for both improved performance and disaster recovery. Yes. The DevOps team at a big data consultancy has set up EC2 instance across 2 AWS regions. Okay, for a flagship application, which are the characteristics of the application architecture? If they deploy the EC2 in 2 regions, what will the benefit? The only benefit is the availability. So improves security, no. Deploy the improves availability, yes. Improves agility, no. Improves scalability, no. Which of the following entities can be used to connect to the EC2 from a Mac, Windows, or Linux? So So you want to connect to the EC2, doesn't matter whether you're on the Mac, Windows or Linux, how you can connect. SSH, no, because SSH is only for the Linux and the Mac. PuTTY only for the Windows. EC2 instance connect, yes. AWS direct connect is totally wrong. It is for the premise to the AWS. So instance connect means like from directly from the console. That is from the web browser. Which AWS service can be used together to send alerts whenever the AWS account root user sign in? So to send the alerts, so you want to send the alerts. So like alert kind of a email. So if you want to send the email, like simple notification service or SNS we can use, and using the CloudWatch because you can set up some alarm, some metrics kind of things there. Which of the following AWS authentication mechanism supports a MFA device that can plug so into a USB? So which device we can plug into the USB? That is the U2F, universal key factor. I think universal two factor. A multinational organization has separate VPC for each of its business units on that. So they have multiple VPC. Okay. The organization also want to connect its own premises data center with all the VPC. So they want to connect premise to the VPC for better organization, which AWS service can be contributed the most efficient. So storage gateway just for the storage connectivity. Peering, yes, we can connect VPC to VPC. AWS direct connect is definitely correct because we want to connect from on premise to the VPC. Internet gateway just to connect from VPC to the public internet. Transit gateway is correct. So a media company upload its media, audio or video files to a S3 bucket from geographical dispersed location, that is the from different geographical location. Which of the following solution can company use to optimize the transfer speed? So they can use the acceleration. So they can, if they use the S3 transfer acceleration service, they can upload like very speedily. It will very speed. An e-commerce company has migrated its IT infrastructure from the on-premises data to the AWS. Which of the following cost is the company responsible for? So what is the company cost? Cost for the server on cloud? No. Infrastructure cost? No. Software license, application software license? Yes. So application is company responsibility. Data center security? No. Which of the following the best suited for the load balancing HTTP and HTTPS? So load, there are many type of load balancer. So if it is HTTP and HTTP, that is the application load balancer. TCP is the network load balancer. AWS Shield Advanced, that is the Shield Advanced. One is standard, one is advanced. Provide expanded DDoS attack protection from web application running on which of the following resources? So on S3, wrong. EC2, yes. If our application running on EC2, then it will provide the security from DDoS attack. Beanstalk, wrong. IAM is nothing like that. CloudFront, correct. The QA team at a company wants a tool. They want a tool that can provide access to a different mobile devices with variation in firmware and operating system. So which means if you develop your application, mobile application or web application, and you want to test your application in different browser, maybe in Chrome or maybe from different devices like from Apple, from some different device, Android, Windows. So how you can do that? One option is you should purchase all those devices. You should install all those browser and then test. But AWS provided one facility, that the device farm. So in the device farm, it is one of the service. We can select, okay, we want to test this application in this browser. We want to test this application in this mobile screen, in this width. So that is the device farm. Which of the following is the container service? So container service is a Fargate. A social media analytics company wants to migrate a serverless stack on AWS. That is the serverless stack on the AWS. Which of the following scenarios can be handled by the AWS Lambda? Lambda can be used to execute code in response to events such as update to, so correct. You can install container, wrong. Lambda can be used for pre-processing of data before it's stored, correct. You can install database, wrong. Lambda can be used to store sensitive information, wrong. A company services, a financial services company want to ensure that all customer data uploaded on data lake, that is the S3, stays private. So how they can ensure the whatever the data they are uploading on the S3, it's private. So what is the most efficient solution? Use CloudWatch to ensure S3 source is private, wrong. Use a high level committee review, wrong. Use S3 block public access, yes, correct. If they block the public, so there is a one check mark. If you block the public access, so it means it's private. Which of the following is the best practice for application architecture on AWS cloud? So if you want to create an application, it should be loosely coupled, not a tightly coupled. It should be loosely coupled. As per the AWS shared responsibility model, which of the following is the responsibility of AWS from security point of view? So what is the AWS? So service and communication protection, patching of guests. So it is a customer. I am wrong. Patching and network. So network infrastructure patch is their responsibility. Which AWS service can be used to host a static website with the least effort? So if you want the least effort, we can go with the S3. So on the S3, there is a one video of mine in which I show you how to host a static website on your S3. A cargo ship company runs its server fleet on Amazon EC2 instances. Okay. Some of these instances host CRM that needs to be accessed 24/7. Those applications are not mission critical. In case of disaster, the application can be managed or less on less number of instances for some time. Okay, what is the best disaster recovery? So there are basically four disaster recovery techniques. One is the backup restore, one is the pilot, one is the warm standby, one is the multi-site. But in question, they said like they have multiple EC2 instance. Out of some they want, it should be accessible 24/7, which means if the disaster recovery happen, they should be always up and running. But that is some. But some can be managed. These applications are not mission like critical, so they can manage on a lesser number of instances. So if some instance can get up later on, it's still manageable. If it is mentioned all the instances should be up and running in case of disaster recovery as well, then we will go with the multi-site. Multi-site means if they are using 100 EC2 instance, so 100 we have to create 100 backups. 100 EC2 instance in the parallel keep and running. Warm standby strategy means if there are 100, we can make available at like maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, like some. So the same scenario is this. Backup and restore. So if we go with the backup and restore and they go disaster recovery, it will take hours to restore. But in question, it is mentioned all some instances should be available 24/7. So the warm standby strategy looks correct. A streaming media company wants to convert English language to the Spanish language. So if they want to convert one language to the another language, then they can do the translate service. Which AWS service will help you to install application code automatically? So they want to install the code automatically on the S2. So that is the code deploy. They want to deploy the code deploy. A social media company want to have the most cost optimal strategy for deploying EC2 instance. As a cloud practitioner, which of the option has the recommend? A social media company wants to have the most cost optimal strategy for deploying EC2 instance. Okay. Use reserved instances for Adobe job that can be interrupted, wrong. For interruption, we can use the sport instances. Use sport instances for Adobe job that can be interrupted, correct. Use on-demand instances with the predictable usage over next 1 year. Now, if we know the 1 year usage, then we can go with the reserved instance rather than the on-demand. Use on-demand instances for Adobe job that can be interrupted, wrong. Use reserved instance to run an application with the predictable for 1 year. That looks correct. Next question. An organization maintains a separate VPC for each of the business unit. Two business units needs to privately share data. So how they will connect? Using VPC peering. If one VPC connect with another VPC, we have the VPC peering. A financial service company wants to migrate from its own premise data center to the AWS cloud. Okay. As a cloud practitioner, which AWS service do you recommend so that the company can compare the cost? So before moving to the cloud, if the company wants to compare the cloud, they can just use the pricing calculator. Which of the following entities should you use for an Amazon EC2 instance to access a DynamoDB? So one service has to access the another service, then they have to use the role, IAM role, not a cognitor, not a KMS, not a user. So it's IAM role. So let's finish the test. So let's reload the page. So it looks all correct. So that's the end of the video. So thank you.